Yep. I owe a lot of you guys an apology.
I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark, and Rashawn Gary, they're not being talked about as much as they should be in the NFL world, but especially in Cowboys land, Cowboys Nation, Cowboys media, right? People like myself. Akoye and I have tried to do as good of a job as we can, and we're going to continue doing so. But more on that in just a minute, okay? Today, what I'm here to discuss with you is more of a nuanced sports below the surface angle, as we like to always try to keep it here. I'm gonna reemphasize how Rashawn Gary proves the Cowboys' aggression so far this offseason, which still could very well continue very easily here in the coming months leading into training camp. We'll see. I also want to share with you a text message that I sent to a current Dallas Cowboys player who will remain anonymous for now, that I think you might appreciate. I hope at least that you do. I hope you take something from it. And it's just important. It's important to have these types of conversations. So that's what we do here. Okay, the sports below the surface truth for the true fans like yourself that deserve to hear it. 8,500 so far on this particular platform alone, 100,000+ across all social media platforms. If any of this information that I bring to you today, the sports below the surface discussions that are a mainstay here, it's what we're all about, then join us. Hit the thumbs up to let other Cowboys fans just like yourself know where to find me. There's still lots of you out there that have no idea who I am and what I'm about, and I can't wait for those types of people to continue being discovered, to join this community. All right, the membership option is available for you. It's just if you so choose, if you please, if you really want to take your support from me and what I do here to the next level, proof that the Cowboys defense in 2026 under Christian Parker is already better than the one led by Matt Eberflus and Aaron Whitecotton and company, that I'm going to prove to you once again weren't even speaking the same language last year around this time. I snuffed that out. I listed it as a major red flag. It quickly became my biggest concern, one that could sink the entire ship. And it directly alluded to the offense itself and how much of a juggernaut that was going to be. We predicted all of this stuff. I snuffed out the major concerns about the defense, why some things weren't kind of adding up there. It goes without saying, and this is my confession, but it's also a promise and a vow to you all at the same time. I talked myself out of my own logic for reasons I still don't really understand. Like, looking back now, it's so blatant. It's obvious. And clearly we addressed it, we talked about it, but we swept it under the rug, and I don't really know why. All right, but my vow and my promise is to learn from those mistakes, right? Life.
Sorry about that, guys. Almost forgot about the segue. Get the light back on so you can see me a little bit better. Proof that the 2026 Dallas Cowboys defense is already better than the historically bad defense that we all, sadly, had to witness together just a year ago. Let's go. You ain't going to run the football against this Dallas Cowboys front. Not very efficiently and very effectively. Maybe one team, they got a bad week, they got a couple of guys banged up. Sure, it can happen. But on a week-to-week basis, this team's not getting pushed around anymore. All right, so starting right here, just listen to the difference in the synchronicity between the coaches from this year and the coaching staff from last year. Starting with 2025, okay, Matt Eberflus and Aaron Whitecotton. You guys be the judge. You tell me.
You have to have big guys. In some positions, yes. He said it's position specific. But then he went on to directly mention, in the middle, you got to have anchors.
Spots. The double teams happened on the inside, as we know. So you're talking about 600 and plus versus 300. So those guys do have to be stout inside there to be able to hold and anchor the point inside the middle of your defense.
He said the word anchors. So that directly contradicts everything that Aaron Whitecotton So the D-line coaches all offseason long been saying, penetrate, attack. That's what we do. Eberflus today said anchor. That is a polar opposite terminology. And I know, I get it, right? You're not going to ask Jay Toia to go rush the passer. Yeah, but you're still not, based on everything that Aaron Whitecotton has said, you're not asking him to two-gap read and react either.
What are the top things you're looking for in terms of edge rusher, defensive tackle?
We need explosive athletes. We're attack front. Attack front. So what you've seen from us in San Fran and with the Jets, we're attack front. And I want those guys to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage and get after people and play hard.
Okay. So does that sound like to you from the jump that a coaching staff saw eye to eye? The answer is no. Now compare that to the coaching staff from this year, and it might just knock your socks off. Here we go.
3-4 structure in base with 4 defensive backs, but typically you're in nickel, right? So it's 4-2-5 essentially. Up front, you want to be in more of an attack and react style. So what I mean by that is the attack front is kind of known as you're flying up the field, everybody's hot in the gap, single gap fits on the second and third level. So you create disruption, but sometimes you create vertical seams, in my opinion. So we're more of the...
He's explaining attack front, which is essentially penetrate and get on the other side of the line of scrimmage as deep as and as fast as you can. That was kind of the Dan Quinn mold, right? And also Aaron Whitecotton too. But he's also here. He's being candid about the problems that can present if it's ultra and overly aggressive as opposed to really playing sound within the structure of the system. Okay, listen to what he describes as vertical seams.
Knock back up front, resetting the line of scrimmage, but squeezing blocks at the point of attack. So guys have to be able to play with their hands, their feet, and their eyes, essentially, to do that.
Run that back on the Christian Parker part. Just I want to make sure that resonates well.
Players they currently have on the roster.
I think by structure, you're in a 3-4 structure in base with 4 defensive backs, but typically you're in nickel, right? So it's 4-2-5 essentially. Okay. Up front, you want to be in more of an attack and react style. So what I mean by that is the attack front is kind of known as you're flying up the field, everybody's hot in the gap, single gap fits on the second and third level. So you create disruption, but sometimes you create vertical seams, in my opinion.
Right there.
So we're more of the create knockback up front.
So instead of attack, he's saying they are still attacking. They want to be aggressive, but it's more attack and react. It's gap and a half. There's some responsibility beyond just trying to create instantaneous penetration, if that makes sense. I hope that does.
Resetting the line of scrimmage, but squeezing blocks at the point of attack. So guys have to be able to play with their hands, their feet, and their eyes.
So it's more knockback, putting your opponent into the backfield behind the line of scrimmage as opposed to you getting there by yourself. That's the discrepancy.
Got to play the game up front, and it's all a mindset. And we have the guys for that, with Q, with KC. You put them in position and understand.
And this is all part of the discussion that Akoye and I had when the Cowboys are going to be getting into more of these 5-man fronts, creating more one-on-one matchups. The idea behind what Christian Parker and what Marcus Dixon want to do is allowing their second-level players, their linebackers, Jordan Brooks, one of the guys that's still potentially in the mix here that I don't want people to forget, but D. Winters, DeMarvin Overshown, those guys are going to be running and pursuing and chasing from the second level, ideally, in a perfect world, clean, completely unscathed, because of not just the 5-man front creating more one-on-one matchups, but because of who is in front of them within that 5-man front. So just now, listen to, once again, the synchronicity, okay? Christian Parker discussing attack, but it's more attack and react. It's creating knockback as opposed to getting deep into the field and not creating those vertical seams, right? Listen to Marcus Dixon.
Reacting, we're playing with our hands. We're not allowing vertical seams up front on those early downs, and then when it does,
there it was right there.
Track is third down. Now let's go hunt.
Despite what you think about the personnel, despite what you think about the first-time play caller or coordinator for Christian Parker, it's the way that people talk about these individuals. You can't fool the locker room. You can't fool other coaches, and you certainly can't fool some of the best in the business that have preceded the new, or in this case, young, up-and-coming coaches like Christian Parker, right?
So let's summarize this real fast, okay? It doesn't really, I guess today is not the time. It's not really my objective today to try to convince you that the personnel is better, even though I believe that we can prove that very easily, and Akoye and I will continue to do so. But since I kind of mentioned at the beginning that not enough people are talking enough about Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, and others all playing together, potentially even one other veteran. We'll see that they're still truly interested in the trade market there. But there's not enough discussion happening around the physical dominance, especially in the run game, relative to the recent historical past of the Cowboys, and just how dominant these guys are and how good they're going to be together in that regard. Especially then when you start to bring it to the picture of, okay, more one-on-one matchups because more five-man fronts. It's going to be fun, all right? But just for now, since all we have to go off of is what have you done for me lately, which was a 7-9 team, a historically bad defense, and now a first-time play caller at defensive coordinator. I'm personally not worried about that, and it's for reasons that we sort of stumbled upon earlier with the interview 105 Through the Fan put on. I'll just let you hear a little bit about, but like what he said seems to be there's uniformity with his line of thinking. Sorry, it took me a little bit to pull that up.
Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
I hate it when anything good happens to you people. And something really good happened to you yesterday. And so I wasn't in a pleasant mood when you guys reached out. I got to tell you, it wasn't pleasant because I wanted to see Christian Parker get a shot because the man deserves it. He's freaking awesome. But I did not want to see it come in the division, and I most certainly didn't want to see it come with you people.
Why is he so awesome?
I can tell you this. It's just one of those things, and I mean, when I know you can talk, the beat writers and the guys who deal with them on a daily basis, it's a completely different thing. But every single person, when you meet somebody or you hear of somebody, and every single person repeats the exact same things about them, there's a uniform.
Bingo, right there. That's everybody being in. That's Philly media. That's a Philadelphia radio show host who doesn't really owe it to anyone to be honest if he doesn't want to. I don't know if anybody listening to this program here has ever listened to Philadelphia media, especially leading up to or shortly after a Cowboys matchup, and even more especially if the Cowboys had just taken care of business. It's the Wild West on their radio waves, and it's honestly it's must listen TV. It's must hear radio. But if those types of personalities are all saying these things, we know what the all pro caliber players have said. Former Eagles players, all pros at the defensive back positions. We don't really have to ask many more questions about that. There's uniformity. GMs, coaches, players, fans, and media everywhere, including now here in Dallas, all raving, but raving with the same things, saying the same things about how ready Christian Parker is, how built for it Christian Parker is. His colleagues and his coaching staff that have been around Super Bowl caliber coaches and in other organizations that have contended for Super Bowls, they're like, this dude is one of the best I've ever been around. So we don't have to ask any further questions about that. The personnel is better. Quinnen Williams is a better player than Micah Parsons, but then there's a whole host of others behind him that is going to make this that much more so of a better operation. Time will tell and continue to reveal that for those of you who are unwilling to get there with me now. Once again, you don't have to be there yet. That's okay. All I'm saying is compare what we're hearing now based on what we were hearing at this time last year, and it is absolutely a different discussion. Very different.
in a positive way for the 2026 campaign.
One more interesting stat for you from NFL researcher here for you to chew on. Most quarterback pressures after double team over the last 5 seasons since 2021, per Next Gen Stats. Number 1, Quinnen Williams with 73 total pressures. Next highest is Jeff Simmons with 70. Also, Diggy Zool with 66. Dexter Lawrence with 65. Jonathan Allen with 64. Jaron Reed with 59. Vita Vea with 58. Kobe Turner 58. Leonard Williams 56. And Ed Oliver 56. And I'm not sure if that's specific to just interior players or if it's the all-encompassing everybody across the defensive line. There's no edges here mentioned, so I'm assuming that it is just interior players. But either way, that should speak for itself. The film does all that and then some. And that's just pressures, though, okay? We already understand, why Quinnen Williams is a blanket statement better player than Micah Parsons is because he dominates every dimension, both phases of the game, instead of just one. And Christian Parker understands this. That's why there's been a concerted effort. And so I want to try to really quickly unpack for you why it's important to build to stop the run first and why this is such a breath of fresh air for Cowboys fans who have been calling for that positional switch for quite some time, or just the philosophy switch, I should say. Here's just some of the notes that I jotted down right here. I'll just kind of spitball this for you. It's much more difficult to just decide that you're going to dominate somebody through the air because there's more variables introduced. There's weather, there's quarterback accuracy, there's timing, there's maybe the refs are letting them play a little bit more physically that day. And so there's lots of batted balls, right? There's just constant. There are variables that are very difficult to replicate over and over and over again. When you run the football, it's very easy to just, conceptually speaking, turn around and hand the football off and put it in to the belly of the back. Everybody else just gets to go proceed business as usual. There's no added variables really. So when teams like the Bills 3 years ago, 3 calendar seasons ago now, when they can, and at the time they were a spread, Josh Allen kind of a drop back and make things happen by yourself type of team, right? With James Cook, who was still considered a scat back more so than a power player or just a between the tackles 30 touch per game type of guy. All of a sudden, I think it was week 12 of 2023, they become this between the tackles heavy personnel downhill rushing football team. Because they can just decide to do that if you're ill-equipped to stop the opponent from bullying you. That was the case for the Cowboys for so long. It won't be the case anymore. Not with Quinnen Williams, who is a first-team All-Pro, soon-to-be Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame caliber trajectory. Okay, and then his mentor, who's also on this team that people love to forget about, Kenny Clark. The disrespect in his direction is weird. I'll just leave it that. I'll leave it there. Oh, and by the way, that goes without also mentioning the league-renowned run-stopping presence at the edge position, not unlike DeMarcus Lawrence, a slightly souped-up version of that, I think, in the run game. Whatever he brings as a pass rusher is gravy. But we know he's got a lot there, too. You ain't going to run the football against this Dallas Cowboys front. Not very efficiently and very effectively. Maybe one team, they got a bad week. They got a couple of guys banged up. Sure, it can happen. But on a week-to-week basis, this team's not getting pushed around anymore. So there's going to be more opportunities for longer downs and distances on third down. Or on third and fourth. Longer distances on third and fourth down. We'll say it that way. More pass rush opportunities. And you would like to think that it's also synonymous with, if that's true, then the Cowboys are going to find themselves leading football games more frequently in the second half, and thereby also elevating opportunities for guys like, say, Donovan Ezeraku or Rashawn Gary or Malachi Lawrence or, whoever.
to come in and go put the game away, go finish. Obviously, Quinnen, Kenny, and company in the middle. But we're talking about Otito Ogbonna, Jonathan Bullard. We've done work on both of those guys as well. It's those dudes dominate first and second down. You don't know their name because a lot of times what they're tasked to do, there's their skill sets. They're kind of eating up. They're swallowing up the middle. They're not pass rushy types like Quinnen Williams is. Quinnen's the rare breed that can do the same things that those two guys can in the run game, but then also go and beat double teams 73 times in the last 5 years and go get pressure on the quarterback. That body type that prototype is very rare. And he's one of maybe 3 right now in the sport doing what he does. Christian Parker gets that. And that's why this stuff matters most. The last thing I want to do real quick before we get to the text message that I sent to a current Dallas Cowboys football player that I also want to read to you is I want to convey my position on that. Also Akoye once again co-signs. If you heard me reference Okoye's name 3 or 4 times so far in this project here, there's a reason for that. We got some exciting things in the works, and you'll hear an announcement in that regard here very soon. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, I'm going to read or let you listen to my thoughts, because it needs to be discussed, about how Rashawn Gary proves the Cowboys' aggression so far this offseason.
The Cowboys, they sent a 4th-round draft pick
For Rashawn Gary, when most people said, what? The Cowboys traded for a guy that was going to get cut anyway. They could have just signed him as a free agent and kept their draft pick. Yeah.
That's what the world said, by the way. I'm not just making that up. Y'all know this.
But guess what, genius? That in and of itself is aggression. They spent what nobody else was willing to spend on a player that they feel like can help their team. It's not up for us to decide if it was the right decision. They were aggressive because you admitted it. You said that they're stupid for going and trading for a guy that they could have signed if they waited 1 more week.
Right?
They didn't want to wait. They wanted to be aggressive and get it done. They didn't want to enter a negotiating a bidding war with what, like we just talked about, 10 other teams for Rashawn Gary when they could just negotiate with 1.
Bars.
How about that?
Are you Cecilia?
That's a bar. That's a bar right there. They aggressively eliminated 31 other teams, or I guess 30 other teams from the equation, being able to negotiate for his services as a free agent. They said, nah, you might be able to think you can get him for free next week, but we're going to trade for him right now and make sure that we prevent that from happening. I know it's a little deep, it's a little below the surface, but we're thinking critically here. This is common sense for me, and I know it is for a lot of you. Why is nobody talking about it? Why is it so easy to forget? Why do we just overlook? We're all fast to be critical because failure sells. Failure is common. The common man fails. And we don't like to prop other people up because it makes us feel bad about ourselves. We feel guilty and we start to all of a sudden there's introspection that's happening and we start to resonate with, dang, those people got it going on. That makes me feel bad because I know I'm slacking. It's easier just to be bitter and miserable and just throw your hands up and throw shade. But we don't give credit when it's due. Or it's much fewer and farther between. Because success isn't common. Success doesn't resonate well with the common man. The common man sits on the couch and puts other people down. The uncommon man gets up, gets his butt to work, and lifts other people up. So now that we're in philosophy class in school here, the message that I wanted to read, and maybe this will be a mainstay here because it's just been on my heart lately, been praying hard about a lot of things, trying to better myself. As you guys know, I'm a man of faith here, and I'm actively working towards becoming better
in that regard. All aspects of my life, sure, but that one in particular. Here's what's been on my heart. What's good, man? I apologize for hitting your line so late, but my kids and this jet lag don't mix, so I'm up, needless to say. Real quick, I thought about you last week during my project prep, so I just wanted to reach out and let you know I'll be praying fervently and asking God to bless you with good health so the whole world can watch you level up on a national scale. I'm not sure where your faith is, and from my perspective, it doesn't really matter. But I feel called to remind you, in case somebody hasn't lately, how mighty, how loving, and how good our God truly is. Whatever it is you're going through, just know you're not alone, number one. And number two, that you weren't created to be alone. We weren't built to handle the everyday stresses of this evil world, because evil lives here. It doesn't live in heaven. Evil is all around us in our daily walks on planet Earth. And we weren't meant to handle that by ourselves. Life is supposed to be hard so that when we realize through time and through age and experience and maturity that we can't do it alone, and that none of our remedies work, at least if they do, there are ramifications to those remedies, and they are short-lived, and there are always ebbs and flows that coincide, right? What is our foundation that we fall on? At some point, all of us reach that breaking point to where we're like, you know what, God? We throw our hands up and we realize we can't handle everything that this world has to throw at us. The great deceiver, the evil one, will put distractions in our way, will put temptation in our way. That is how he pulls us away from our relationship with God. So the punchline there was that the Waymaker will work it out. There is no perfect human being currently on this earth. Whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you've done, salvation is waiting. And nobody is too low is the cross won, right? Every show that, if you're familiar with this, with our work here, you hear me say every show, prayer changes things and the war is already won. The war is already won. The ultimate price has already been paid. All we got to do is have a relationship and cultivate that relationship and grow in faith. And we can do that if we just are humble enough to say, God, we can't do it by ourselves. I need your help. I need you and I need your help. So that was my message. And it wasn't just a message to one individual. It's a message to everybody, the whole world, myself included. We all need to hear that a little bit more often, right? I think so. I certainly do. But if there's ever anything I can do for anybody that heard that and that felt that and was touched and moved by it, reach out. You know where to find me. At The Lando Show on all socials. Comment section here. Membership section that'll grant you access to a subscribe or membership only exclusive group chat that I'll send you the access code to the second that you become a member, and you'll be in those conversations with us round the clock, year round. Kind of been a little bit quiet lately, but that's just because it's brand new and it's the low point of the NFL calendar. It is what it is.
We dig deep here, man. Once again, if any of this stuff, if you find joy, if you learn something, if you appreciate the depth, if you want to join this community, you know exactly what to do. I do need to remind you to hit the like button, but those of you that truly appreciate it, if you're really blown away the way that you almost have to be to engage in conversations, I get it. Like we're nerds over here. All right, it's a very small target market. Like, so those of you who feel the things that we talk about, you're gonna go and subscribe anyways. Okay, so I don't have to remind you to do that, but just don't forget to hit the like button. That's how we continue to take this thing where it needs to go, where it's gonna go, where it's inevitable. Okay, thank you for being patient with me. It feels so good to be back. Brief hiatus, family-related stuff, all is well, all is great. Actually, a little bit of jet lag, no problem. But just enjoying some time with my mind just completely clean and focused and locked in on where it was. It was a great week. Excited to be back. The updates are in full effect, as you can see. The room is complete. The camera back there is ready to rock and roll. It's getting charged up right now. That's why I'm talking to you on the Osmo still. But your support, just so you know, as you can clearly tell, and as you're going to see again tomorrow on the brand new Sony, you will get a return on your investment. I am constantly putting money back into this, spending more time learning new tricks, right? The course about the salary cap, we already feel like we're pretty well versed there, but I want to become a credentialed professional having those types of discussions. I'm doing that for you, a $1,500 course that got pushed back, unfortunately, to July, but it's still coming, right? We're constantly leveling up. You guys are the reason why. I used to be you. I am you in every way. I just have a little bit of a platform now. But it's your support that has built that. And we ain't stopping anytime soon. And before we get up out of here, just have to say thank you to the official partner of the Lando Show. This good company right here, Waggle. GetYourWaggleOn.com. Also the official colors of Lando Show, which is cool. This is why this is kind of like the staple hat of this program. But just take a look for yourself and get a sneak peek. Clearly there's a bias here for the Longhorns. This piece is absolutely incredible. We killed that one. But here's the Azalea Masters edition from 2 years ago. One from this year. Underneath that, got the grape ape back there. Alligator, dinosaur, that's your flavor. We got the blue jay, which is really cool. It's like more of a dad style hat. Great white, turtles, donkeys, parrots, and countless others in the closet that they all get worn. And I cycle through every single one of them for good reason, because the good folks over at Waggle are killing the game right now. GetYourWaggleOn.com. Thank you for supporting the Lando Show.